My digital class, and this is a discussion for our last minute revision for set number G. So let's look at our first question from here, which is from Nanyang paper 1 question 29. So here says that John has just enough money to buy either 6 rulers and 3 erasers or 4 rulers and 8 erasers. So from this statement, we know that basically 6 ruler plus 3 eraser is actually the same value when it comes to money value, the same as 4 ruler plus 8 eraser. So the value are actually the same. Then he spends all the money, on eraser, and how many eraser can he buy? Okay, so now let's try to find out how many eraser is actually the same value as how many rulers. Okay, so now what we can do is we can move and keep all the rulers at this one place and all eraser on another place. So what you can do is we can move this 4R to this side and move this 3R to this side. So after I move it, it will be 6R. Now here is plus 4R, positive 4R. If I move it to another side, it will be minus 4R. Okay, and the same thing, 3E, if I move to another side, it will be minus 3E, okay, because it's positive. And of course, the value that did not change, it will still be the same, okay, the sign. So 6R minus 4R, that's equal to 2R. 8E minus 3E, that is actually 5E. So you can see that 2 rulers is actually the same value as 5 eraser. Okay, this is a very important points here. Okay, now again, he spends all the money on eraser. Now you know the money that he have is just enough to buy 6 ruler plus 3 eraser. If I want to have all the money spent on eraser, means that I don't want to have this ruler. So 6 ruler is equivalent to how many eraser? If you want to know this, you can take a look on this. If 2 ruler is equal to 5 eraser, 6 ruler would be times 3 times 3, 5 eraser times 3 is 15 eraser, which means that this 6 ruler is actually equal to 15 eraser. So all the money is enough to buy 15 eraser plus 3 eraser, which is 18 erasers. So the answer here is 18. And you are done for this question. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. So the next question is from Nanyang paper 2, question number 7. So Mrs. Tan bought 9 chicken puffs. This is Mrs. Tan, and Mrs. Lim bought 5 beef puffs. They spent the same amount of money on buying these puffs. Okay, again something. Each beef puff costs $1, 20 more cents more than each chicken puff. How much money did Mrs. Tan and Mrs. Lim spend altogether? So the first thing you should know is 9 chicken and 5 beef are actually the same amount of money. So it means that when it talks about money, 9 chicken is the same as 5 beef. Now, they spend the same amount of money, okay? And now each means that only one. If it's 1 beef and 1 chicken, if we were to compare, what happened is what? Beef is 120 more. So if it means if I draw model, it'll be like this. 120 more. When chicken is like this. Okay? Now, 9 chicken means I have 9 of this unit. Okay, 9 of this unit. It will be 9 unit. 5 beef puffs means that I need to have 5 of this model. So it means I have 5 of this U and 5 of this 120. So 5 of the U is 5U. 5 of this 120 is 5 times 120, so it's $6. So it's 6. Okay, does it make sense? If you're still confused, if I have 5 beef, basically means I have all this model 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 120, 120, 120, 120, 120. So all total, I have here 6. Here I have 5U. That's why it appears to be like this. Okay? And the same thing, we are supposed to move all the unit to one side. 35U or plus 5U, move that side will become minus. So 9U minus 5U is equal to 6. And 4U is equal to 6. And U is equal to 6 divided by 4, which is $1.50. And now the question now asks how much money did Mrs. Tan and Mrs. Lim spend altogether? So basically, I want to find 9 chicken and 5 beef. And since I know they are the same, right? So I can just times 2, right? Okay. 2 times 9 chicken. 9 chicken. Chicken is how many unit? 1 unit. 1 unit is what? $1.50. So the answer will be 27. So when you write your answer, you should write the unit 27. And you are done for this question. Okay, simple one, but you need to be very, very careful. Let's move on to the next question, which is from Nanyang paper 2, question number 5. Now, in the figure below, ABCD is a square. Now, this is a very important word. And CEFG is a rectangle. It's also very important. Why? Because this statement tells me that all the corner here will be 90, 90, 90, here 90. Then here will be 90, 90, 90, and here will also be 90. Okay, make sense? Yes. Okay. And angle GCD is 203 degrees, as you can see here. And find angle BCE, which is this small little part here. Okay. Now, the first thing to know is, now here is 203. Then what is here? The first thing we should do is 360 minus 203. I think you should know why it's 360, because it's whole circle, whole angle is 360, right? So 360 minus 203 is 157. Means I know the whole thing is 157. And now, if whole thing is 157, then here is 90 degree, here is 90 degree, then you should realize something. You see, if I were to add 90 plus 90, okay, 90 plus 90, it's actually 180. But can I say this is a total angle? No, right? Because in the middle part, you see this middle part is repeated twice. That's why it should be lesser than that. And you can see when there's no twice, it means that only 1, 2, 3, no twice is 157. Which means that the middle part is actually 180 minus 157. So the answer is what? The answer is 23 degrees. Okay? So again, let me just explain again. 180 is 1, 2, like this. Okay, basically the first part, the second part here, and the third part here. But 157 is like this only. So if you minus away, it's only the middle part, which is 23. Okay? Yes, and we are done for this question, 23 degree. So let's move on to our next question, which is from paper 2, question 15. Okay, a very simple question. It's not hard, but you need to think a little bit. Okay, now this question here says that the figure below is made of a square, as you can see, a square, a quarter circle, and a semicircle, which is at the bottom. The area of the square is 196 cm square. So you know that the area is 196 cm square. So can we find the side? What is the side here? 196. We need to square root. Okay. Now, just a reminder, when you do square root, right, you can either write the 2 or without writing the 2 is fine. But if you write the 2, please make sure you write it smaller. It's not like this. Okay, this is wrong. So it will be 14 cm. Okay, so here's 14 cm. Here is 14 cm. Now, the question now is asking you to find the area of the shaded part, which is this part and this part. And you should realize this actually, which is, this is actually a diagonal line which cut exactly half. Which means that if I want to do this line, cut like half, I actually can move this part. You see, I'm erasing this part and I'm actually able to put it here. Okay, can you see that? Then this part I don't need anymore. Then you can see that what I actually can do to find the shaded part is to find the area of this circle, not this circle, this sector, sorry, which is something like this. Then I minus the triangle inside, which is this part. Let me just highlight here for you. Can you see this triangle? Then after I minus it, I'll left with the shaded region. But the problem here is how am I able to find the area of this sector? You might be questioning, just use the formula lah. It's easy, right? I want to find, then it's pi r squared. But you need to notice that this is not a circle. Okay, you know usually, right, if I can find the area, I can just use pi r squared. But this is not a circle. This is not a semicircle. This is not a quadrant. If it is circle, you know it's pi r squared. That's all. If it's a semicircle, it's half pi r squared. But if it is a quarter, you know it is 1 over 4 a quarter pi r squared. But do you know why is it half? Why is it 1 over 4 a quarter? Because it's half ma. It's just half ma. That's why half lor. Why is it quarter? Because it's a quarter ma. That's why 1 over 4 lor. And of course, to know the theory behind it is actually because, do you know a whole circle is 360, right? The angle. And half of it, can you see here, is actually 180. That's why it's 180 over 360, which is half. And 1 over 4, again, the total is 360. And this is what? 90 degree. That's why here is 90 degree. And if you were to actually simplify, that is half and a quarter. So we can use the same theory to find out what is the area of this sector. Sector means this one, okay? So what is angle here? Again, this is a square and it's half. So the angle should be what? Half of 90 degree. Half of 90 degree is what? Is 45. So here is 45 degree. So we can actually just put here 45 out of 360. And of course, if you simplify, you should get actually 1 over 8. So I actually can say this is actually 1 over 8 of pi r squared. So 1 over 8 times pi. What is my pi? 3.14. But what is my radius? Again, here is 14 cm, right? So I know here is also 14 cm. Times 14 times 14. Or I just put a square. So it would be 76.93 cm squared. Good. Okay, now I want to find a triangle here. This is the yellow color part, okay? So again, you know the formula, half times base times height. So half times base. Base is what? 14 cm. But what is my height here? My height would be 7. Just half of it. As you can see, right? This is half. So you can just say it's 14 divided by 2, 7. So that would be equal to 7 times 7, 49 cm squared. And again, what I need to know is I just need to minus it to find the shaded part. So my last step, 76.93 minus 49. And the answer will be 27.93 cm squared. Of course, when you put at the bottom. Good. I think it's easy, but you just need to notice the concept that we have here. This part. Okay? It's something that's very important. If you know this, you can find any, you can calculate any sector with different degrees. Okay? So I think this is good. And let's move on to our next question. Our next question is from page 1, paper 2, question number 14. Okay, a simple question, but let's discuss together. So here says that Mrs. Yong had some red and green apples. So I've read I have green apples. 60% of the apples were red and the rest were green apples. Now, let me just write here first. I have red, I have green. And what happened? I have 60% of it is actually red. 60% means 60 out of 100. And 60 out of 100, if I were to simplify, what would that be? 3 out of 5. Which means that if I were to put into a unit table, red is 3, and the total is what? Because of the apples, right? The total will be 5. Then how about for the green? The rest are green. So I know the 2 unit is green. Clear? Okay. Now, there were 192 more red apples than green apples. I know that red is 192 more than green at first. Okay, but I can't straight away say that 1 unit is equal to 192. Okay, we must check first, read through the question first. After Mrs. Yong sold some red apples. Now, I minus something here, but do I know here? What is it? I don't know. Put a question mark. The percentage of the red apples left had become 25%. So again, 25%. 25% is 25 out of 100, and if you simplify, it's 1 over 4. Means that now it's 1 unit, whereas the total now become 4. Okay? And now the question now asks, how many red apples did Mrs. Yong sell? Basically asking for this question mark. Okay? Now, of course, I know that red is 1 unit, total is 4. The green color should be how many? Should be 3. Now, after we have this unit table, right, you should look at it and notice one thing here. One of the things that you should notice here is that did anything happen to green apples? Nothing happened, right? There's nothing adding in or nothing getting out. So these 2 and this 3 actually supposed to be the same unit. Does it make sense? Because you didn't do anything, so it should be supposed to be the same. So 2 and 3, what is the LCM? LCM of 2 and 3 is 6. Okay, so it means that these 2 and 3 is supposed to be the same. So I times 3 here to make it become 6, and I times 2 here to make it become 6. Why? Because they are supposed to be the same. But if you times 3 here, you need to times 3 to the rest of the numbers in the row. And if you times 2 here, you need to times 2 to the rest of the numbers in the row. So here the new ratio become 9 to 6 to 15, 8, 6, here will be 2. And now you can try to compare. This is 6, 15, 8, 9, and 2. And with this, now you actually can say, oh, this 9 unit and this 6 unit, actually their difference in unit is what? Is 3, correct? Because 9 minus 6 is 3. And that 3 unit actually is the 192. Why? Because 192 have more red apples than green apples. So 192 divide by 3, I know it's actually, if you calculate properly, it will be 6 times 3, 18, then 4. So it's 64. So which means that actually 1 unit is equal to 64. Okay? Now, you look at here. 9 become 2. It decreased by how many unit? By 7 unit. So if 1 unit is 64, 7 unit will be what? 64 times 7. So the answer will be 4, 4, 8. Okay? Because 7 unit, right, decreasing. So here will also be 7 unit, which is 4, 4, 8. And you are done for this part. Okay? So let's move on to the next part. Oh, by the way, this is actually a concept called one unchanged quantity. They are one part that's supposed to be the same because there's nothing happened to them and on that part. Okay. So let's move on to our next question, which is a circle question from SGS paper 2, question number 8. So here say that the radius of a circle A is 3 times radius. Circle A is 3 times the radius of circle B. So which means that Here, example, if I have 1 unit here, the radius, here supposed to be what? 3 unit. 3 times, okay? And circle A makes 12 revolutions to roll from X to Y. Okay, means that you roll for 12 revolution basically means 12 turns lah, basically. Okay, 12 full rotation. Okay, let me just use the word full rotations. Full rotation. Now we have all the information gathered here, but there's something that you should understand from this part. Radius is 3 times of it. Now you need to understand that if the circumference, okay, let me just explain this. Radius and circumference, right, is something that's connect to each other. If the radius is double, example times 2 lah, then the circumference will times 2, the same. If the radius is times 3, which is like what happening here, times 3, the circumference will also be what? Will also be times 3, which means that the outer length of circle A, the circumference, is also 3 times of what is from circle B. Okay, get this concept? Yeah, let me just add on something that's not related to this. How about radius and area of circle? Now I'm talking area of circle. If radius times 2, what would be the area? Is it also times 2? The answer is no. It's actually times 4. Okay, you might ask, hey, why? Why radius and circumference are the same, but radius and area are different? It's because radius, or okay, I should say the area, the formula is what? The formula is pi r squared. So if here you have extra 2, means times 2, 2 squared is actually equal to 4. So what if my radius is times 3? It'll be 3 squared. It will be how many times? 9 times. Okay, something important for you to take note, although it's not related to this case. Now let's focus on this part first, this part. Okay, and just to make things clear, when I say radius here, it actually works the same way if I want to talk about diameter, because they are the same thing, because in terms of this concept. Okay, so now again, I know that the circumference of circle A is also 3 times of circumference for circle B. And you can see, if the circle is big, the rotation they need to travel the same distance will be lesser. If it's smaller, of course, they need to turn more, right, to reach the destination. So A now asking, how many revolutions will circle B take to roll from X to Y? Because the circumference is also 3 times of this, that's why here, in order to catch up, you also need to times 3, which means that circle B will take, let me just write here A, circle B will take 12 times 3, which is 36 revolutions to go. Why? Because the first one is 3 times more, that's why they can take 3 times lesser row than B. Okay, now let's move on to question B. The radius of circle A is 12 cm. What is the length of XY? Now I now know that the radius of A here now is 12 cm. What is the length of XY? Okay, of course, if I want to know that, I want to find the circumference first. So what is the circumference? The circumference will be pi times d. Correct? Pi times d. But of course, I have 12 revolutions. Means I need to times 12. Then I can find xy straight away. So 12 times pi, which is 3.14. And diameter. What's my diameter? I have radius, but I don't have diameter, right? So, but if I have radius, I just need to times 2. Then I can find diameter. So I will find radius and I times 2. So 12 times 3.14 times 12 times 2. So the answer that you get is supposed to be 904.32. And you are done. Okay? And of course, the answer at the bottom, you must write properly 36 for A. And for B, it will be 904.32 cm. Okay? Don't forget the unit. Okay, let's move on to the last question for the day, which is from MGS paper 2, question 12. Okay, so the question here says the figure shows a cylinder which is hollow in the middle and has a thickness of 10 cm, taking pi as 3.14. Now, when you talk about this question, it's interesting that now they are trying to put a 3D figures in, which is a cylinder. Okay. Now, part A, the question asking, find the area of the shaded part. And the shaded part is actually here. It is not that clear because of the printing. So yeah, this is the part. So of course, if I want to find the area for here, it's kind of easy. I just need to find the bigger circle minus the middle or the small circle in the middle. Okay, so let me just write here. Area of the big circle. Now, how to find the area of the big circle? You know the formula, right? Pi r squared. So pi will be what? 3.14. What will be my radius? You can see the diameter is given 60 cm here. So my radius is 60 divided by 2, which is 30. So times 30 times 30, then I will get, it will be 2826, of course in cm square. Now how about the area of the small circle? The small circle. The same 3.14 times. But how to find the radius now here? Again, the diameter is 60 cm for the big one. But don't forget that here and here the thickness is 10 cm. So 60 I must minus 10 minus 10. Then I know the diameter for the small circle is 40. Then how to find the radius? 40 divided by 2. Very good. 20 here. So times 20 times 20. So that would be 1256 in cm square. And of course, I just need to minus. So the area of the shaded part would be 2826 minus 1256. So the answer would be 1570 in cm square. Okay, and of course, and the answer at the bottom, you just write 1570 cm square for A. Now, the challenge comes when it comes to B. Okay, now B here says what? Randall dip the entire cylinder into a red pin. What is the surface area of the cylinder that is painted red? Now, they're asking for the surface area. Now, if I have the whole cylinder, which I have hollow inside middle, if I go to immerse it inside, so what is the part that affected that have a red paint? First is on the top, second is on the bottom, correct? And these two I do not need to worry because I already found the area here and here. 1570 plus 1570. But at the same time, the cylinder, the outer part of the cylinder is also affected, and also the inner part of the cylinder is also affected. So, but the problem is you might think that, hey, how do I find cylinder? Example, I have this paper here. This is a cylinder. I immerse inside. Of course, top and bottom I can find. But the problem is, how can I find this part? How can I find this part? I didn't learn anything about this, about how to find the surface area. But don't worry. Yes, this is a cylinder. What you need to do is, I can just open up. Can you see? Then it will be a what? It will be a rectangle. Again, repeat. This is a cylinder. This is a cylinder. I actually can open up and find a rectangle. And in this case, if I want to find a rectangle, I need to have here the length and also width here. Here I can find already given is 42 cm here. But how can I find the here, which is actually the circumference of the circle? So what am I actually talking is, what we are trying to do is, we can open up this, then you find that this is actually a big rectangle, whereas here is 42 cm. Okay, I'm talking the outer part. And how to find the length here? The length here would be the circumference. Let me just highlight this using green. Here, this part will be the circumference. Now, how do I find circumference? Now, that's the part that we need to discuss. The circumference of this part, the big circle, is actually, again, pi times d. So what's my pi? 3.14. What is my diameter? 60. Again, here 60. So which is actually 188.4 cm. Once I have this, I can times with the length, which is 42. 188.4 times 42, and I know it's actually 7912.8 cm squared. But the next part I need to find is also what? Because there's inner part also. So I need to find the inner part here. What is the circumference here? Okay. So again, pi d. So 3.14, I need to times with the inner circle. The circumference is what? The circumference, again, here up to here is what? 40. I have found here. 40. So 3.14 times 40 is 125.6 in cm. And the same thing, I need to times with the height. What is the height? The same, 42 cm. So 125.6 times 42, and that is equal to 5275.2 in cm squared. Okay, so now my last step. Again, I have the outer part area. I have the inner part of the cylinder. I have the top, where's the top? 1570. I also have the bottom 1570. So my last step is to add everything together. 7912.8 plus 5275.2 plus 1570 plus 1570. The answer will be 16328 in cm squared. 16328 cm squared. And we are done for this question. Okay? So I would say that this question is actually kind of interesting because we don't usually see this like cylinder involved in our work here. Okay, but anyway, we have learned this, and I hope that you learn something, and this will be really useful for you as you progress and face your PSLE soon. Okay, thank you. See you. Bye bye.